Hello, fellow Oregonians. I'm Mae Rafferty. I'm one of the 6 gubernatorial candidates here in the state of Oregon. And anyway, I would like to point out that I believe there's actually only 3 candidates running who are actually Republican candidates. The other 3, in my mind, if we compare the Republican platform to their stances, that they really should not be running as Republicans. And so the 3 Republican candidates in my mind would be myself, Mae Rafferty, and Gordon Chalstrom, and also Bruce Cuff. These are the 3 that most closely would align themselves with the party's platform. And so I do recommend that you would choose from among those 3 candidates if you are in fact a Republican. And at this time, there's only about a week to go now before the election, and I'm recommending that all Republicans, certainly in this state, and would change their party to the Constitution Party if one of these 3 Republicans that I listed do not get elected as governor, because it would be very obvious that our Republican Party has been kind of taken over, and so they're kind of taken over by people who really don't hold to the party platform. And if we're not going to hold to the platform, then if we can't elect people who will hold to the platform, then we really should be just stepping out of the party and perhaps going into the Constitution Party. So that's my recommendation to Oregon. If we cannot elect one of the 3 persons, it's myself, Mae Rafferty, or Gordon Chalstrom, or Bruce Cuff. Now I know a lot of people may be kind of questioning, well, what happened to Dennis Richardson? Why did he fall off the bandwagon of being considered as a Republican? And in my mind, and this is my opinion, and that's all I can tell you, is my opinion. I mean, other people might view this differently. But what Dennis Richardson has done as a state legislative person, he's been traveling to China quite a lot, and within that, him and some other legislative people in this state have formed what they call their Made in Oregon plan, which makes it sound totally innocent and wonderful. But the idea within this plan, is to actually encourage Chinese factories into this state. Now, a Chinese factory isn't just a Chinese factory, and certainly I don't mean this to be derogatory towards Chinese people or anything of that nature. But the situation is, all those big factories like that, they're going to be owned by the communist government. Now, the Republican Party platform specifically says that we believe in private business ownership. We do not believe in government being involved in businesses, in government. And so therefore, in that sense, this is a very big issue, and we do need to elect individuals who will go by the party platform if we do believe in the party platform. And so this is why I'm asking you, not to vote for Dennis Richardson. And, amongst the other 2 that I do consider to be Republicans, I am actually, I believe, the one most adamantly opposed to the encouraging of Chinese factories and Chinese businesses in here. And because I haven't really heard the others talk about it to an extent. Gordon has mentioned it very lightly. And so that's a very big issue to me. And the other big issue to me is that I do want to immediately bring about deregulation for the citizens in this state. I believe that our property has been largely stolen through regulation, and that we need to focus on getting our legislative body to be looking at deregulation rather than legislation. I think it's very, very important at this time that we do everything possible to help our own manufacturing base and to encourage that in this state. Very, very important. Another thing that a lot of people should start to consider and start looking at is, when you purchase something that's made in America, which I know it's hard to do because a lot of times you go out and you try to find something that's made that you're looking for, but it's hard to find. But I'd like to have people start thinking about this a lot more, is that even if, you're paying some more, are you really paying more? I mean, in other words, if we look at how much we as citizens who are working and who do pay taxes, how much of those taxes that we're paying then have to go to support people on welfare? And so because we're having to put all this money back into welfare through our taxes, are we really paying, less for Chinese goods and things like that? So it's very important that we start to do everything we can to rebuild our own manufacturing, because this is one reason why we've become much more in a weaker position than we used to be years ago, where we were able to manufacture many things for ourselves, and now we're, our manufacturing base is largely been shipped out of our country. So anyway, that's a very big issue to me. That's very important, and of course I go along with all of the other, main Republican values, and I believe, marriage is between a man and a woman, and I don't go along with abortion. I'm very much pro-life. So those are some of the main issues that we could talk about. GMO, I think that's a bad situation, and I know there are farmers that are growing it, but I think it's starting to focus and starting to come in the light that the GMO product really isn't any better by any means, and it's actually, it's more toxic. It's not really working out to be what it's been billed as being, and so I would not hesitate to try to get something going, perhaps no GMO sales in Oregon, no GMO seed sales in Oregon, and certainly labeling on GMO products. I think it's been a little difficult to try to get no growing of GMO in Oregon going, and the difficulty with that falls that, well, then you have to invite inspectors onto your property, and people kind of like to have their private property rights and not necessarily have these inspectors coming on their property. So I think that's been a little bit of an issue with trying to pass some of this GMO legislation. So I don't know, we maybe could approach it in a little different way. Anyway, I do thank you for listening to me, and again, I would like to have your vote, Mae Rafferty for governor, and if for some reason you prefer a different Republican, I would certainly hope that you would consider Gordon Chalstrom or Bruce Cuff over and above any other Republican other than myself. I believe I could do a very good job for this state, and I would focus on what really matters, and freedom is what matters. Jobs and economy, that's important, and I know a lot of politicians focus on jobs and economy, but I believe that it is better to focus on our freedom, and of course out of freedom we will have jobs and we'll have a good economy. So that's kind of the way I like to think of it as, and it's really not government's job to make jobs. It's government's job to protect the citizens' liberties and rights, and that sort of thing, so that we can all go about our business and be happy and productive and do what we like to do. So thank you very much for listening to me, and it's only a week away, so please get out and vote. Thank you. Bye.
How did I do, boss?
You know, right? I'm not stressing the word communism, though.